talk about, or we will all discuss about the introduction to metabolism. So we all know that being the human beings, we have to take the food for the sake of survivability, and we take the food till that part we know that one. Otherwise, as a layman, we don't know what happens to that food, but only thing that we realize that we get some energy to function normal activities of our daily activities, like walking, sitting or sleeping, all those things. So in the view of biochemistry, it is the one which we have to look with the another angle, that once the food enters, what happens to that one? Because we the people, human beings or the animals, whosoever are there, they have to continuously take the food in the intermittent of 2, 3 to 4 hours. We have to take the food. It is something like that. We say in Hindi, "Papi pet ka sawal hai." We have to take the food. Otherwise, we cannot survive. So, what happens to that food when it enters our body? We take the food not in a very smashed or very easily digestible one. We take many things in the raw material, and that has to be consumed in a proper way that it yields the energy. So the food that we consume, that has to undergo some process, and it should yield out the energy which the body should utilize for the further actions, like the digestion, reproduction, or any other activities, everything for the proper growth and everything. So a collective action or the procedures are the what we best can tell that one as the chemical reactions that they take place in our body. They are referred as the metabolism. So today, in the introduction to metabolism, we'll see that what is the metabolism, how it works, and what are the types of that one, and what are the things that help for the metabolism, and also if there is the irregularity or any lapse are there in the system, so what can be the consequence of that one, that we will try to find out. We will study those things in detail when you actually come to our campus. Okay, so we'll start our class, introduction to metabolism. So metabolism is a main theme. It is the one which is the major part of the biochemistry what we learn. So it is the one which keeps the cells and organisms live. Means there will be the life for the cells or any organisms only when the food taken is digested properly, and it provides the energy to carry out many of the activities, like they act as the building blocks and the growth, like that one. And prior to that one, that has to undergo some pathways which are called as the reactions, chemical reactions, or we can call them as the metabolical pathway. So that gives rise to the definition of the metabolism. So these reactions, they are not limited to any some numbers. They are happening into the number of the thousands, and it is not only the consuming of the food and converting it into the energy. It also involves the waste that can be produced during those reactions or the course of the reaction that has to be removed out. That also will be the part of that one. And it is the energy which will be yielded out that will be used to build up the muscles, growth, cell division, and productions. Thus, the reactions allow the organism to grow and reproduce, maintain the structure, and to respond to the environment. Suppose if there are some infections are there, as you nowadays the whole world has reeled under the corona. This is the one which may give you the boosting energy or the immunity that comes from the energy of the food battery. Sorry for the interruption. So, in other words, you can tell that one metabolism is a network of biochemical reactions that are carried out in the living cells in a in a well organized one. It is not that way. It can be a haphazard one or something like the way it wants. Everything is systematically done one after another and in integrated and regular manner. Those reactions will be taken place. So that will be said as the metabolism. So what is the purpose of the metabolism? So the metabolism is a reaction that converts nutrients into the energy. And another two important things will be taken place. They are chemically complex substances of the cells into the simpler forms and chemically simple substances into the functional complex molecules. So complex to simple and simple to complex one. These are the two other things that can be carried over in the body by the method called as the metabolism. Now, this all these actions or the reactions, they are organized in a way or a path which is called as the metabolic pathways. And what will be the things that will be produced by that one? They are referred as the metabolites. And metabolic pathways or metabolism can be classified into as very broadly as the two things, that is catabolism and anabolism, or you can call that as a catabolic and anabolic reactions. So what is anabolism? Let us see anabolism. The building of the compounds from the small molecules into the larger one. So from simpler to complex, you can tell that way, where there will be the consumption of the energy will be there. So that will be called as the anabolism. So that is called as the endothermic reaction also, you can call that one. The example you can give of the proteins from the amino acids. The amino acids are referred as the building blocks of the protein. So this is the explanation regarding the anabolism. Now coming to catabolism, breakdown of the molecules into the smaller ones. In this case, what happens? There will be release of the energy. You can refer to that of breakdown of the glucose in the presence of oxygen. You can give the example for the pathway of the catabolism. So anabolism means from simpler to small compounds to the larger one, simpler to complex, whereas catabolism is the breakdown of the this one into the smaller one, that is called as the catabolism, that is catabolic pathway. So we can look at this figure where there is the interconversion of this one is there, which explains about the catabolism and anabolism. So what happens with this one? The ultimate goal of these all reactions are there biochemically, that a energy which you can call that as a potential energy that will be produced. So the energy that is produced in the biochemistry, it is referred as the ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. So you can call that as the currency of the cells. ATP is maybe referred as the currency of the cells, and it is the one which is applicable in both the animals and plants also. And it is the one which can be stored also, as and when you needed, it can be utilized. So how it happens? ATP comes indirectly from the food, molecules of the carbohydrate.
Hey, bro.
Please mute your sounds. So when you look at our food type, almost across the world, it is consisting of main three things, that is carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. So the molecules of carbohydrate lipids are broken down the process to produce the ATP. So what happens? The ATP will undergo the reaction where that will be separated, or it will be uh, destruction of that one, and it will be formed into the molecule called as the ATP, that is adenosine diphosphate, and the phosphate will be made to be used again once again. This is how the reaction takes place. So energy that is released each time a phosphate will be removed from the molecule, and energy will be stored each time and a phosphate attaches to a molecule. So the reaction shows that ATP is divided into the ADP plus phosphate, and there will be the release or the formation of energy. This is how the metabolism can be concluded, that it will be the formation of ATP, and from ATP the energy can be obtained. So this is the figure that is explaining that how this energy bond will be released. You can see this one. Now see what happens. The food we consume, it will be consisting of carbohydrate, protein, and fats. When they go and metabolism, very first thing will be after the digestion, it will be formed, carbohydrates will be formed into the simple sugars, that is the glucose, and proteins into the amino acids, and fats into the fatty acids and glycerol. So once all these things are happened, they all together they form one substance called as acetyl coenzyme A. So this acetyl coenzyme A is a central product that formed, which undergoes a common metabolic pathway, that is called as the citric acid cycle, where there will be the release of the hydrogen and carbon dioxide along with the ATP. So you can summarize very shortly how the metabolism takes place. From the respective the food contents, that is carbohydrate, proteins, and the fats, there will be the formation of the sugar, amino acids, and fatty acids, glycerol respectively, and they form into a acetyl coenzyme, which will be passed on to the one pathway called as the citric acid cycle, where there will be the release of ATP will be there. So what is acetyl coenzyme A? That is, it is a molecule that participates in many chemical reactions of the all the three protein carbohydrate metabolism, and its main function is to deliver the acetyl group to cyclic acid to be oxidized for the energy production. So the acetyl group is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released that will be captured in the form of the ATP. Same thing which is there. Now, what is citric acid cycle? It is a center of the cellular metabolism, playing a starring role in the both processes and energy production. You can imagine of a circle in your city where there will be the mixing of or approaching of the different roads, and they combine into a one common road. That way the citric acid pathway will be there, means the products that are formed from the respective carbohydrate, proteins, and fatty acids, sorry, lipids, they combine together, they form into acetyl coenzyme A, and a single component that enters into the citric acid cycle. So it takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria. That's why the mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell, because from there only there will be the release or formation of the ATP. Now, so all these things takes place there, but it is not that just a metabolism takes place. The way, if a picture is done, you can find that there will be number of people, lot of people working behind the screen for the success of a film or a picture. The same way here also, for the sake of this metabolism, there will be other things which can come into the helping. They are can be are they can be called as the helpers. They are like the enzymes, coenzymes, cofactors, hormones, all those things. They are needed for the smooth running of the metabolic pathway. So what is an enzyme? You must have learned in the earlier classes is what may be the definition for the enzyme. In the chemistry, we often come across the one word called as the catalyst, catalyze. Catalysts are the one which speeds up the reaction, and their presence will be essential for the reaction to take place. Similarly, these enzymes are called as the biocatalysts or biocatalyzed actions they show they. So these enzymes are referred as the functional units of the metabolism. When you want to give the definition of an enzyme is a substance that acts as a catalyst in the living organisms, and not only it acts as a catalyst, but also they regulate the rate at which the chemical reactions proceed without itself being altered in the process. A thing should be remembered here that the enzyme takes care that the rate of reaction will be taken place, or it will speed up the rate of reaction, but at the end of the reaction the catalyst or the enzyme remains unchanged. It will not be involved into the product whatever it is formed there. So there will be another substances that are called as the substrate. It is a one on which the enzyme acts upon. So, and enzyme converts them into the different molecules, what we call as the products. So almost possible, all the processes in the biological cells, they need the enzymes in order to occur in a significant rates. So enzymes lower the amount of activation energy needed. It doesn't make that one to the waste of the energy to be there, and it will be consumed the way it is needed, or it will be in a regularized way. Another thing is that they speed up the rate of reaction and they remain unchanged. And another thing is that they just only get involved, but they will not be either consumed or permanently altered one. So enzyme is the one which acts as a bridge, bridge between the two sides, wherein but because of its presence, the rate of reaction will take chemical reaction will take place, and it will be speeded up. The rate of reaction will be speeded up. And another thing is that it won't get involved in the sense it will not be consumed, or it will not be changed in shape or anything that may be happen. And at the end of the reaction it remains aloof. So the chemicals on which the enzyme acts, they are called as the substrate. So once the enzyme acts on the substrate, the intermediate product that is formed is called as the enzyme substrate complex. Then there will be the breakup of this complex, and it will form into the product and enzyme. So at the end, enzyme remains as it was in the initial state only. So in the picture, you can see that one. The very first one is the enzyme, and the upper one is the substrate. And the combination of the substrate and enzyme, it will take place only at the different places, not at the any part of the cell, or any part of the enzyme. So the part where this combination or the action takes place, that will be referred as the active site. And once the substrate enzyme or substrate binds to each other, then that will be formed as the enzyme substrate complex. And further, there will be the formation of products will be there, and the removal or leaving of the enzyme from the active site take place. This is the view of enzyme action that is take place in the metabolical activity. So, however, when you look at these chemical reactions which are activated or influenced by the presence of enzyme, these enzymes also will be affected by the number of factors. So those factors will be like the effect of the substrate concentration. If the substrate amount is less, then the combination of that enzyme and substrate may not be in the proper way, so that the enzyme reaction will not take place. So the exact amount of the substrate presence is essential. Similarly, the effect of enzyme concentration, effect of the product concentration, and effect of the temperature also. Most of the enzyme reactions, they take place at the 37 degrees centigrade, but very rarely they crosses the temperature more than 50 degree. So once the temperature is raised more than 45, 50, then there will be the rupture of enzymes. Enzymes are basically protein in the nature. So when the temperature is raised, they get denatured. So maintenance of the optimum temperature is very much essential. You must be knowing about the definition for the pH since from your high school only. So the presence of this hydrogen ion concentration, which is abbreviated by the pH, the maintenance of the optimum pH is required for the enzymatic reactions, which in turn has the effect on the metabolical actions. And also similarly, the effect of time is there, effect of the activators, coenzymes, everything is there. When once you come here, we can learn them in the detail. Hmm? So how these metabolical reactions takes place? So these metabolic reactions, most of the time, it will be a reversible also. So metabolic reaction is a biochemical reaction where a metabolite is specifically reacted by an enzyme and coenzyme to give the product. So here E dash CO means presence of enzyme and coenzyme. So in presence of enzyme and coenzyme, the metabolic reaction take place. So in certain conditions, this reaction can be reversible also. And just presence of the enzymes is not enough. There must be the need of presence of cofactors and coenzymes. Cofactors and coenzymes, these are not the enzymes, but these their presence is very much essential for the enzyme to function properly. So that's why they are referred as the helper molecule. Here, for the cofactors, they can be defined as they are the inorganic compounds like magnesium, potassium, calcium, which are referred as the cofactors. And organic molecules are called as the coenzymes. They work with the enzyme to initiate and aid the function of the enzyme. So the basic difference is that the cofactors and coenzymes are not the one which initiate the chemical reactions, but their presence is essential for the enzymes to start or initiate the many chemical reactions. So metabolite is a substrate or a reactant undergoing the metabolic reactions, and it is a substance that works with the enzyme to initiate or aid the function. So here you can look at one chemical reaction where pyruvate is transferred into acetyl CoA. This is the reaction regarding the one which takes place in the glycolysis. Like the glycolysis, there are many other metabolic pathways in the carbohydrate metabolism like gluconeogenesis, glycolysis, and HMP pathway, glycogenolysis, glycogenesis, like similar many things are there. So when you will be here present in the regular classes, that you can come to know about one. Here you can just see that one. The pyruvate is converted into acetyl CoA in the presence of PDS, that is pyruvate dehydrogenase, wherein it is possible to the reaction to take place only in the presence of the TPP and magnesium. TPP is the thymine pyrophosphate. Please mute, mute it, mute it. So the presence of these cofactor and coenzyme are necessary for the reaction to take place. So PDH is the enzyme in presence of this magnesium and TPP. It helps the pyruvate to get converted into acetyl coenzyme A in the course of metabolic pathway of the glycolysis, which further leads into the TCA cycle. Now, apart from that, enzymes, cofactor, coenzymes, hormones are also there which help for the metabolical reaction to take place. How we define the hormones? Hormones are the chemical messengers of the human body. They travel to other parts of the body where they have the control how the cells and organs they work. They are the regulators of the enzyme activity. So just to quote some example, you can give the examples of insulin, glucagon, thyroid hormones, cortisol, epinephrine, all those things. Here today we can look into two hormones, that is insulin and glucagon. Let us see. So insulin and glucagon are the one which are required or involved in the regulation of the glucose. It is a small protein and is synthesized by the beta cells. You may be knowing about in the probably in the anatomy they may be teaching you, and it is the one which takes place in the carbohydrate metabolism, and it plays an important role in the storing of the excess energy. And in case of excess carbohydrate, it causes them to be stored as the glycogen mainly in the liver and muscles. So you can know one thing, that when a excess of glucose is there, that will be stored in the body in a limited manner, that is in the liver and muscle, that stored glucose is referred as the glycogen. And also carbohydrates are converted under the stimulus of the insulin into the fats and stored into the adipose tissue. Not only in the glycogen, but also when it is excess, it can be stored in the form of the fat, and it will be stored in the adipose tissue. So, what is the effect of insulin on the carbohydrate? So, immediately after a carbohydrate meal, the glucose is absorbed into blood, there will be the secretion of the insulin. It is something like that one. When there is a violence is there in the city, immediately there will be the call for the reserve police or the police people. They will come in the picture. They don't come every time. So it is similar to like that one. Once a person consumes the food or a high carbohydrate meal, whatever the meal is there, then there will be the release of the secretion in the in the body. So insulin causes the rapid uptake, storage, and use of the glucose by almost all the tissues, and abundant glucose transported to the muscle cells and stored in the form of the muscle glycogen. This is the function of the insulin. So the what happens when there is a lack of insulin is there, it reverses all the effects of the glycogen storage. So when the excess of glucose is there, that will be packed into the triglyceride in VLDL and transported in the blood to the adipose tissue and deposited as the fat. Insulin also inhibits the gluconeogenesis. Glucon, Gluconeogenesis is the one which can, can be defined as the formation of the glucose or the energy in the absence of carbohydrate supply. That will be called as the gluconeogenesis. Now, the important thing is that blood glucose level will be always maintained at the critical level by the help of the insulin, and glucose level when decreases to more than this one 20 to 50 milligram, then the patient or the person will feel the symptoms of hypoglycemic shocks and nervous irritability that can be leading to further as the fainting and finally coma condition. Similar to the insulin, there is one more hormone is there that is referred as the glucagon, which is secreted by the alpha cells. The insulin is secreted by the beta cells of the pancreas Langerhans, whereas the glucagon is secreted by the alpha cells of the isolates of the Langerhans, and it will be doing the or it is functioning exactly opposite to the role of insulin. Insulin is the one which helps the person to maintain the blood glucose within the cell, and this is the one which is referred as hyperglycemic hormone. That is, increased blood glucose inhibits the glucagon secretion. When there is enough amount of the blood glucose is there, then there won't be the presence of glucagon. So in which conditions it may happen normally, that is exercise, that will stimulate the glucagon secretion, because there will be the use of the energy, and a beneficial effect of the glucagon is that it prevents the decrease in the blood glucose. So when there is the excess of insulin is taken, some diabetic patients, you must be knowing that For the sake of maintaining the blood glucose properly or normal to the normal one, they take unnecessarily more doses of the insulin. That time they may go into the hypoglycemic conditions. Whereas the role of the glucagon is that it prevents the decrease in the blood glucose level. So you can see that the difference between the enzymes and hormones. The thing is that both are the one which help the body in the very metabolical activities or metabolic pathways. The basic difference between the enzymes and hormones is that enzymes perform reactions at the place of the origin, whereas the hormones are the one which actively there will be there at the some distance places, and they catalyze the reversible reaction enzymes, whereas the hormones controlled reactions are not reversible one. For the enzymes, you can give the example of hydrolysis, transferase, oxyreductases, whereas the insulin, glucagon, thyroid one like T3, T4, TSH, these things you can give the example for the hormones. Now, when there is a defect of some enzymes or other things, there will be a defect, and the metabolic effect defect will be there, which you can refer them as the inborn errors of metabolism. These are the one which are due to the defects of single genes that code for the enzymes that facilitates the conversion of various substrate into the products one. So what happens in that one? Either there will be the accumulation of the substance, which when there is the accumulation of the substance, they may act as a, or they convert into a toxic one, or there can be the effect of reduced ability to synthesize the essential compounds. So ultimately the metabolic pathway is there to give you the energy. It may be for the conversion of the things into the simpler one, or release of the energy will be there. But when there is a lack of presence of these certain genes are which are coding for the enzymes, then there will be such defects will be observed, and which can be called as the inborn error of the metabolism. So apart from the so it will be a genetically acquired one, genetically happened defects, which can be referred as the inborn error metabolism. Apart from that one, there will be some defects will be there with the person. Almost nowadays, you can see that every uh, one person in out of 10 people is having the diabetes mellitus, which is also a syndrome of the impaired carbohydrate fat protein metabolism caused by the lack of or decreased sensitivity for the tissues of the insulin. So when there is a lack of activities of the insulin, the person will be having or affected by the diabetes mellitus. This diabetes mellitus can be broadly classified into the two types, that is type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is also can be referred as the insulin dependent diabetes, and type 2 as the non-insulin dependent diabetes. So type 1 is a result of autoimmune destruction of the beta cells, and it can also rise from the loss of beta cells and hello increased blood glucose. What happens when there is a more amount of the blood glucose is remaining in the blood, then it will start entering into the bladder. That is, that there you will find the presence of glucose in the urine. So when glucose causes passes in the urine, naturally more amount of the water will be depleted from the body, and it causes the dehydration. And more amount of the glucose concentration, it may cause the tissue injury, so which in turns leads into the heart attack, stroke, and end stage kidney disease or renal failure, retinopathy, ischemia, gangrene, all those things happens. These are all happens because of there is a lack of the either release of the insulin, or the insulin is not acting, or effectively it is not promoting the insertion of the the glucose into the cells. Then all these secondary results will be there, and the real victim will be the sugar only, means the diabetes. Because of this one, the all these things may happen, that is heart like atherosclerosis, retinopathy, and this one renal impairment, all these things can happen. And also apart from this one, the patient may experience the hypertension, and there may be abnormal in the lipid metabolism. Because of this one, more amount of the lipid you can find in the body, like triglyceride, cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, like that. So uh, what happens comparatively, the type 2 diabetes is more prominent in the world comparing to type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is the one which is happening because of lack of secretion of the insulin. So it will be along with the, or the diabetes will be accomplished with the formation of obesity, and obesity, raised blood glucose level, and hypertension, and increased triglyceride, and increased blood pressure. These are all the 5 factors which can be considered for the one syndrome called as the metabolic syndrome. So all these things happen. Today, I just touched the things related to metabolism, very little bit of the carbohydrates, and the impact of abnormality what may happen there. So it is just an introductory part. So when you come literally here, then we will discuss about these things very elaborately. Hmm? Thanks one and all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.